Okay, well, we are now getting the Strixhaven spoilers, so I decided I would highlight a few of the gold cards I wanted to point out. There'll be no double-faced, modal double-faced cards in this because they're not hittable by Niv, but they are technically gold cards. I'm going to wait till the end of spoiler season and just highlight any potential big ones there, like, you know, like Tybalt was in Kaldheim. So our first card I'm going to highlight here, Kasmina, Enigmatic Sage. 1 green and a blue, legendary planeswalker Kasmina, enters with 2 loyalty. Static ability, each planeswalker you control has the loyalty abilities of Kasmina. Love that effect. It's essentially Kasmina teaching the other planeswalkers what she knows. Very flavourful. +2, scry 1. Negative X, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token with X +1/+1 counters on it. And her ultimate is -8, search your library for an instant or sorcery card that shares a colour with this planeswalker, exile that card, then shuffle. You may cast the card without paying its converted mana cost. Potentially game winning. Obviously we don't evaluate, you should never evaluate a planeswalker solely on their ultimate because it will rarely happen. But I think Kasmina's true value in this, obviously she's going to go in the Super Friends Niv to Walkers deck in Commander, because we run a lot of the Waterspark planeswalkers there that don't have tick-up abilities, and just giving them a way to rebuy their potential is great. For the same reason, she's going to go in the token deck, not only because she creates a token or gives other planeswalkers the ability to create tokens like that. One of the other things is this +2, scry 1. One of the biggest examples is the token deck runs a lot of the uncommon planeswalkers that don't have tick-ups, like Vraska, Angraf, and the one I'm really excited for is Saheeli. Saheeli just generates servos when I cast non-creature spells. She literally just sits on the field. She's basically an enchantment that doesn't do anything. And having Kasmina on the field with her and just giving Saheeli a way to generate us additional advantage would be great. So yeah, Kasmina's impressive. I will definitely be putting her in a few of the decks. We've got a cycle of apprentices for the different colleges. So we'll start here with Lawhold Apprentice, and they have Magecraft, which appears to be an ability that triggers whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery. So it's kind of like Ralzeric's static ability. So until the end of your turn, spirit creatures you control gain tap. This creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. This might be a test out in the token deck. In the right situation, I can create a lot of spirit tokens, and I can also use Brutaclad to turn everything into spirits, so I could potentially ping a lot of damage. It's on the maybe pile. As an uncommon, I'll probably pick it up and try it out in the deck a few times, see how it goes. I don't see any other place for it other than that in the Niv decks. Prismari Apprentice. Again, Magecraft. Whenever you cast copy into a sorcery spell, it can't be blocked this turn. If you cast mana value 5 or greater, put a 1/1 counter on it. Love the flavour. It's basically a showman. He likes big explosive spells to show off. But I don't see this fitting in any of the Niv decks. This strikes me as something like a something to go in the Sprite Dragon Is It Blitz decks. Even though it doesn't have haste, it's pretty solid, even though you probably won't trigger the +5 ability. Quentins Apprentice. Again, Magecraft. You may reveal a land. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a land from among them, put that card into your hand, put the rest in your bottom of your library in any order. I think this might be really low-key powerful. Not powerful as in busted, but this might be one of the better ones to try out in a few of the commander decks, because literally having it where every spell you cast gives you the potential to put a land in your hand, securing your land drops for next turn. I mean, it won't work in every deck, but I'm thinking with Niv's ability to filter the cards anyway, and with his ability to just, I mean, one of the things I would say would be, if he's on the field and I cast Kaya's Guile to nuke a graveyard, cause an edict effect, and put a land into my hand. I mean, the way to imagine it is, you literally are just stapling that ability onto every spell you cast. So I think he's going to be really good. I'm definitely putting him in a few. Definitely maybe in the Interact deck. Probably also in the token deck. Basically, I'll have to assess like fully the percentage of instant and sorcery spells. Like obviously you won't go in enchantments or things like that, but any deck that runs a sizable number of instant and sorceries would be really good, I think, for this guy. As well as it says it's not a basic land, so it's any of our dual lands, our Field of the Dead, World Tree effects. Very good. I am very excited to play this card. Quentins Apprentice. Magecraft again. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, target creature gets +1/+0 turn to turn. Not huge on this one. I don't really think I could see it doing anything too impressive. It's probably more of a constructed card, but I don't see playing it in historical things. Here we go. Shadrick Silver Quill. These are the Elder Dragons that founded the different colleges, and this is the only one we've had support so far. So 3, a white and a black. Legendary creature Elder Dragon. Already hype. Flying double strike. Sweet. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may choose to. Each mode must target a different player. Target player creates a 2/1 white-black Inkling creature token with flying. Target player draws a card and loses 1 life. Target player puts a 1/1 counter on each creature they control. So, in Commander, this is insane. I will 100% be putting this in the flying deck, the token deck, the counters deck. I may even put it in the combat deck, the Niv to attack deck, which triggers on attacks. In one-on-one Magic, obviously there's a disadvantage to giving your opponent some kind of advantage, but this is like politically great. It's like one opponent is ahead of us, so you know what, you're behind on creatures, I'm going to give you this Inkling token, and I'm going to draw a card, or I'm going to put 1/1 counters on all my creatures, and you can make a 1/1 blocker, a 2/1 blocker. I'm also excited as well, for another reason I'll explain. One of the reasons I really want to play this in the tokens deck is I'm trying to create a situation where I create as many different tokens as possible. I've worked out the max I can make in the token deck right now is 37, but with this I could potentially up it to more. In the vein of that, we have Pest Summoning. This is in no way a super OP spell or anything good. It's going in the token deck for me, but I just wanted to highlight it because it creates pests, and we haven't had a multicolored spell that creates pests before, so very excited to play some of them. Right, into the command cycle. These are going to be the ones which are harder to evaluate. So, Lawhold command, 3 red white instant. Choose 2. Create a 2 red spirit token. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain indestructible. Deals 3 damage, you gain 3 life. Sacrifice a permanent, then draw 2 cards. This is pretty solid. It's a bit expensive, so obviously I won't see it being played in anything like Modern. I could probably see myself running one copy of it in Pioneer, maybe. I'm not sure. But in terms of Commander, it's great. It's sacrifice. This definitely goes in the token deck, not just because it creates a token, but it also draws us cards, potentially Helix, and gives the pump to our entire team in instant speed and protection. Yeah. Right, moving along. Oh, we also have the Witherbloom Apprentice. Apparently these are out of order now, which is fantastic. So this is also probably the best of the apprentices. Witherbloom Apprentice, green and the black. Magecraft. Whenever you cast a copy of an instant spell, each opponent loses 1 life, it gains 1 life. This is a more efficient version of Ral's static ability from War of the Spark. And I will be putting this in the main interaction deck because that deck runs the infinite copy combo, using 2 instant spells to infinitely copy each other and get infinite copy triggers. and I use RAL to ping it off, but the problem with the deck is that's free Izzet cards, so the odds of drawing them are pretty rare. So just adding a Golgari card, where I could potentially just Golgari Izzet, just increases the variance of the combo. So yeah, he is a pretty solid card as well. Aside from outside of commander play, I might sideboard this in historic, maybe just to gain life against the aggro decks, because aggro, but we'll see. I'm excited to try this one out. Right, back to the commands. Silver Quill command is 2 black and white sorcery. Target creature gets +3/+3 gains flying till end of turn. Target creature with mana 2 return to the battlefield. Target player draws a card and loses 1 life. Target opponent sacrifices a creature. So this is a significantly powered down version of Kaya's Guile, which is one of my favourite cards currently in Magic. I'm hoping we get more of a Guile cycle from, well, we get more of that kind of cycle in the new Modern Horizons. I think this is okay. It's not obviously absurdly strong. Like, I think I will definitely play it in Pioneer, and I'm probably going to play it in Historic, because this is going to be something to say. In the Niv Titan deck, the return effect returns Croxer or the Zav, which, you know, anyone who's seen play that deck is part of that combo. Edicting an opponent is always good. Gaining card advantage is great. Pumping, I think, will be the most irrelevant one here, unless we need to punch through some damage. But I think that primarily when I cast it, it will always be like this and this, or maybe this. So these 3 will be the most commonly cast, but I say this place will definitely find a home in my eyes in the Niv Mizzet Titan deck in Historic, so I'm excited to play it there. Prismari command. 1 a blue and a red. Instant, shoots 2, deals 2 damage to any target. Target player draws 2 cards, then discards 2 cards. Target player creates a treasure token or destroy target artifact. This is a powered down Izzet Charm, but still, Izzet Charm is great. This definitely sees play in Historic in my mind. Just, you know, card looting and doing damage is great. Ramping, I think this definitely will be a permanent place in some of the Izzet decks, like in the Niv decks in Historic and Pioneer, because you lose the Izzet Charm's ability to counter a non-creature spell, which can be relevant sometimes. But just ramping in the Niv deck, guaranteeing, for example, that you on next turn can hit Niv. Like, if you have 3 lands, you draw, make a treasure, guarantee your land drop, guarantee your Niv or your Bring to Light or your big 5 mana spell. This is like the must. Like, I think this will be the first of the cards I craft, because I'm not spending money, I'm still playing free to play. That's one of the great things about using Niv deck exclusively, is I've been saving my gold to crack packs of Strixhaven. I will be literally getting Prismari command first. Probably, I don't want to say a full playset. Thank you, Windows, nobody cares. Quandrix command. 1 a blue and a green instant. Choose 2. Return target creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand. Counter target artifact or enchantment spell. Put 2 1/1 counters on target creature. Target player shuffles 3 cards from their graveyard into their library. Very situational, but I think in Historic this will be a powerhouse. Maybe in Pioneer I might put it in a one-off in the sideboard. This can not neuter, but it can severely hamper a deck. Like, one of the biggest things running around in Blue White Control right now is the Teferi. So, you know, bouncing a Teferi to their hands is solid. Forcing them to shuffle some of their cards back into the library is not great, or shuffling our cards back in to refine them with Niv potentially later. I'd say it's mid power level. It's situational, but it's still a strong command that I will be crafting. Finally, Witherbloom command. Black and a green for a sorcery. Choose 2. Target player mills 3 cards and you return a land card from your graveyard to your hand. Destroy target non-creature, non-land permanent with converted mana cost 2 or less. Target creature gets -3, -1 until end of turn. Target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. I have been considering this one for Modern. I believe this probably has a good place in Modern. So Modern is probably the format that will have the most non-creature, non-land permanents with converted mana cost 2 or less to take out. There's a lot of 1 toughness things like birds, noble hierarchs, Falliers, other humans you might want to kill off before they get huge. Target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life is the generic ability. One thing you'll notice about commands is they always have one ability that you can always cast no matter what. But I also think that this ability is pretty solid in this, because in Modern it'll be turn 1 crack a fetch land, turn 2 maybe play another land or crack another fetch land, and then you could play Witherbloom command, mill your opponent free, return a land and destroy the permanent they played, or kill their little creature, or just gain back the life from cracking the land. So I don't think it's a 4 of, but I definitely am excited to try this command in Modern, just see how it shapes up in the meta. And we also got the revealed new commanders for the Strixhaven 21 commander. We have Andrix and Nev Twincasters. They are 2 a green and a blue, and they have ward of 2. Whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell ability, an opponent controls counter it unless they pay 2. If 1 or more tokens will be created under your control, create twice as many tokens instead. Straight up, go straight into the token deck. Like, there's nothing more to say of it. It's doubling season on a simic creature. It's not doubling season, sorry, it's parallel lives on a simic creature that we can find with Niv, so yes, please. Breya, the Demigore, Bird Warlock. Flying. Whenever a player attacks with 1 or more opponents, if that opponent has more life than the other of your opponents, that attacking creature draws a card, and you put 2 or more counters on a creature you control. Opponents. If that opponent has more life than... So it's kind of like a pseudo dethrone ability, but it's as long as they don't have the highest dice total, as long as there's a weaker player somewhere among our opponents. Yeah, flying tribal definitely, +1/+1 counters. So the way this triggers is, if for example we swing at a player who's got more life than the other opponents, we will draw a card, then put 2/1/1 counters on a creature we control. So it's basically trading card draw for counters. So it can be like, you want to draw a card, attack this guy, leave me alone, but I'm going to get my creatures bigger. Yeah. So definitely goes in the flying and the +1/+1 counters deck. Looking forward to trying that. Oshgar, the Reconstructor, a giant artificer. 2 a red and a white, so this is the Boros commander. Vigilance. Pay 1. Sacrifice an artifact. Target creature you control gets +2/+0 till end of turn. X and tap. Exile an artifact card with converted mana value X from your graveyard. Create 2 tokens that are copies of the exiled card. Activate this on this sorcery. I don't see this having a home in any of the decks we play. There's obviously, we're a heavy color deck. This really wants you to play artifacts, but this is a very cool commander. I would look forward to seeing it in the wild. Willowesencia, the 1 a green and a black. 1 and a legendary creature, Dryad Druid. That's a tongue twister. 1 and tap. Choose another target creature. Put a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to the amount of life you gain this turn, or the amount of life you lost this turn, whichever is greater. activate this as a sorcery. Obviously 1/1 counters could go in a 1/1 deck, but I don't... That deck doesn't have much life gain or life loss synergies. This definitely goes on the shelf though, because I do want to make a life gain deck with Niv at some point. I very much like this card. The problem is it's only activatable as a sorcery, so if it was instant speed, obviously we could abuse it when players attack into us or cause us to lose life. Yeah, I like this card, but I don't have a place for it right now. Finally, Zafri, Thunder Conductor. Love it. Magecraft. Whenever you cast a copy, it is a sorcery spell, scry 1. If that spell's converted mana cost with value is 5 or greater, create a 4/4 blue-red elemental creature token. If that spell's value is 10 or greater, Zafri Thunder Collector deals 10 damage to an opponent chosen at random. So this clearly is blue-red X spell commander. He wants you to cast big explosive spells, and yeah, this is on flavor for that. I'm not sure. He does look fun. He's a particularly great build around. He creates tokens, but I do not cast 5 or more greater very often, or 10 or more greater. The ability to scry 1 though is potentially good. I think he might go potentially in the I don't know if I have a home for this guy yet. If eventually we come to a stronger, like, big spells Niv Mizzet deck, we could go for that. It's very cool commander and very excited. And that brings us to the end, I believe, of our spoilers for day 1. Looking forward to seeing more.